Hello and welcome back. So for today's video, as I promised, I'm going to go into what do you do about a knot? How do you know if you have a knot in your muscles? Things like that. And why is it bad? What does it mean? So with a knot, it's generally developed because the muscle is held extremely tight in one section. Now, one thing about muscles is they're made up of numerous different muscle fibers, and if only one muscle fiber stays contracted while all the others release, that causes a knot. Another thing that could cause a knot is you have fluid around each one of these muscle fibers and all the cells in your body. But if around one of those muscle fibers you get a lot of fluid, it will also cause a knot. Each one of those the staying contracted can actually cause problems with using your muscle correctly. Having extra fluid in there can actually cause damage as you contract the muscle, which then brings in more fluid, things like that. So without fail, it's not a good thing to have a muscle that has a knot in it. How do you tell if it's contracted or if there's a knot? Well, you look at the muscle fiber. Here's an example, and it's really small. A muscle fiber goes from one joint to the next joint, one joint to the next joint. Obviously, we have different lengths of muscle fibers. If one section of that muscle is tight, while all the rest is looser, that is a knot. That means if you have one spot right here that's really tight, everything else is loose, but there's a hard part right there. This doesn't count. This is a bone. Know where your joints are. Because there are some places, your back is a big one where people think they found a knot. Another thing is your glutes. You can actually, there is a place where 3 different muscles all go over the same spot. So it can feel like a knot when it's actually just a bigger area of muscles. And so it feels like a knot, but it's not really a knot. You get that on your glutes. There's a couple places on your back where bones and or muscles can have that happen. So be aware. But especially if you've gone to a PT, things like that, they can give you an idea of places that may get more knots, things like that, and ideas of things to do. But obviously, part of this is for those who can't go to a PT. So let's say you found a knot. What do? Direct pressure on that knot. Period. The pressure will either, if it's the muscle contracted, it will force it to release. It may not force it to release all the way, but but you can keep pressure on, or alternating pressure on and off until it's reset to where all the other muscle fibers are. It will also, direct pressure can force the fluid back into the tissues and get it back into the circulation system. So direct pressure. Now, sometimes you'll get a knot here, and then it'll move to here, and then here. That's when you start feeling, especially if you hit a knot and one either won't release and you've kept pressure on it for 30 seconds to a minute or more and it's not releasing, or if it moves around, try to find out if there's a place that the muscle's working extra hard. Maybe there's a different place that's connected. And then if you release that area, it'll actually relax and I'll let the initial knot go away. So that's something to be aware of, that it can move, especially in muscles that are all connected together. I'll get knots in my pec and my back that actually come from my neck. My neck will have a vertebra out, and we'll feel it here or different things like that. That's something to be aware of. Another thing, and that leads it, another part of it, you could have a knot because you have a joint out, and you might have to put the joint back in before you can get rid of the knot. So I hope that helps you understand better what causes knots and what to do about them. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.